Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala ibadihi allazina istafa khususan ala afzalihim wa khatamin nabiyyin Muhammadin al-amin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du faqad qala Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala kama warada fi Surah Al-Munafiqoon. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. إذا جاءك المنافقون قالوا نشهد إنك لرسول الله والله يعلم إنك لرسوله والله يشهد إن المنافقين لكاذبون اتخذوا أيمانهم جنة فصدوا عن سبيل الله إنهم ساء ما كانوا يعملون ذلك بأنهم آمنوا ثم كفروا فطبع على قلوبهم فهم لا يفقهون إلى قوله تعالى ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ربنا ألهمنا رشدنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق وأعمالنا من الرياء وألسنتنا من الكذب وأعيننا من الخيانة فإنك تعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. With the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and hoping for His help and assistance, we are starting our study of Surah Al-Munafiqoon. In the beginning, as usual, I will have to give some preliminary points about this Surah Al-Mubarakah. First of all, the sequence and the logical relationship of these lessons in the selected course of study of the Qur'an which is being discussed in these sessions. This Surah Al-Munafiqoon, previously it was included as a lesson of part 4 of this selected course of study. Now I have included it in the part 5th. So let me give you a brief survey of the passages of the Qur'an, the surah and ayat which we have already studied. This selected course of study, as you must be remembering, it is actually based on the idea to give to the Muslims, number one, a comprehensive view of Islam, what Islam is. Is it only a dogma? Or does it comprise of some modes of worship only? Does it have some rites and rituals and social customs only? Or it is a full code of life? It's a full law, criminal as well as civil. Then it's a whole system of life, political, economic, social. So this comprehensive view becomes evident and manifest if we go through this selected course of study, which amounts to about 1/15 of the total of Qur'an. The total, length cannot exceed 2 parts of the Qur'an. Then the second point that I want to make clear through this selected course of study, and that is more important, and that is a comprehensive view of the duties of a Muslim. What our deen requires of us, what our Allah, our Lord, our Sustainer, our Creator demands of us. We must know it. And we must be very clear as to what are the demands of our deen. If we don't know them, maybe at our place we are very satisfied that we are doing our job as Muslim. But on the Day of Judgment, maybe we are declared unsuccessful because we didn't have the full concept of our duties. So these 2 points, I hope so, become very manifest if somebody studies these passages of the Qur'an which are included in this selected course of study. The starting point of this selected course of study is Surah Al-Asr, one of the very small, rather smallest surahs of the Qur'an, because only 3 surahs are consisting of 3 ayat. No surah of less than 3 ayat. No surah of 1 ayah or 2 ayat. And Surah Al-Asr has 3 ayat. And I have given you time and again that Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah says about this surah, لَوْ تَدَبَّرَ النَّاسُ هَذِهِ السُّورَةَ لَوَسِعَتْهُمْ. If people ponder over this surah only, it will suffice for them. It's sufficient for the total guidance. There is another saying of Imam Shafi'i, لَوْ لَمْ يُنَزَّلْ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ سِوَاهَا لَكَفَتِ النَّاسِ. Had there not been sent down anything else in the Qur'an except this surah, this was also sufficient for the guidance, because Qur'an was sent for the guidance. So this is a concept, of the profoundness of this Surah Mubarakah. It gives in very clear terms that nobody can hope salvation in the hereafter unless he fulfills 4 conditions. He should have true iman. Then he should have good deeds, good actions. They should be proportionate to his iman. His actions and attitude in life should represent iman. Number 3, to enjoin upon each other and to advise each other whatever is just, whatever is real, whatever is correct, whatever is true. And number 4, then because truth is bitter, it is always resented. So there will be resentment. There might be persecution. There might be torture. Then to enjoin upon each other steadfastness, forbearance, and perseverance. 4 conditions are to be fulfilled according to Surah Al-Asr if you want to be declared as successful on the Day of Judgment. So the first part of this selected course of study consists of beginning with Surah Al-Asr, another very comprehensive ayah of the Qur'an, that is Ayatul Bir, ayah number 177 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Then the second section or ruku of Surah Al-Luqman. Then 4th lesson is actually the ayat 29 to 36 of Surah Hamim Sajda. But we have included this time this lesson not in the first part, but we have taken it to the second part, so that when in the second part of this, when the discussions go about various aspects of Iman, and they are lengthy discussions, so lest we should lose the sight of the comprehensive demands of the deen. So again, after those discussions in the second part, this 4th lesson is placed. Now the second part consists of discussions about various aspects of Iman. What is Iman? How do you get it? What's the synthesis of Iman? What are the constituents of Iman? What are the fruits of true Iman? What are the implications of Iman? So actually the second part, the first lesson in the second part is Surah Al-Fatiha. Second, ayat 190 to 196 or 95 perhaps of Surah Al-Imran. Third one, the 5th section of Surah Al-Nur. 4th one, then here we placed Surah Al-Taghabun, full surah. Then 5th one, here we placed, the 4th lesson of the first part, ayat 29 to 36 of Surah Hamim Sajda. And then the last, that was Surah Al-Qiyamah, very important aspect of Iman, conviction in resurrection and the Day of Judgment and the eternal life of the hereafter. Then we come to the 3rd section, and this section deals with details of Amalus Salih. Now this Amalus Salih, good deeds, it has definite levels. First of all, individual's character of a person. So we have 2 lessons, number 1 and 2 of the 3rd part. In the first lesson we include ayat 1 to 11 of Surah Al-Mu'minun, and then ayat 19 to 35 of Surah Al-Ma'arij. They are very similar to each other. And these 2 places of the Qur'an give us the foundations on which the character of a real mu'min can be built, the cornerstones. Salah to begin with, salah to end with. That's the most important. But there have been other factors also. These are the foundations. In the second lesson, now that is the last ruku or last section of Surah Al-Furqan. Here, a very comprehensive view has been given of a true and mature Muslim and Mu'min, the real Abd of Allah, Abdul Rahman. وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ حَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Then we come to the second section of Amal Saleh, the family life. What should be the form of family life in Islam? For that, Surah Al-Tahrim has been included. That is the third lesson. Then you know, families go to make a society. What is the concept of social evils in Islam, which must be eradicated? What is the concept of social values in Islam, which must be promoted? For that we have the two sections of Surah Bani Israel, the third and the fourth. Then the last, level is that of state, nationhood, millah, community life, concept of state. What are its constitutional foundations of Islamic state? What's the basis of citizenship of an Islamic state? How to strengthen the community life of the Muslims? And Surah Al-Hujurat is the most profound surah of the whole of the Qur'an on these very important subjects and topics. So that is the last, sixth lesson of, this third part of our selected course of study. In the fourth, we come to the most difficult aspect now, the tawasa bil haqq. This tawasi bil haqq, the topmost position is jihad fi sabilillah. So for that, tawasi bil haqq, yes, jihad fi sabilillah is required. And for that, the first lesson in the fourth part was, which we have read already, the last section or ruku of Surah Al-Hajj. وَجَاهِدُوا فِي اللَّهِ حَقَّ جِهَادِ هُوَ اجْتَبَاكُمْ وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Then second, that is the most profound surah of the Qur'an on the subject of jihad fi sabilillah and qital fi sabilillah. That is Surah Al-Saf. The whole surah is included. Then how to get secure people who will make jihad, who will be ready to sacrifice everything. How to change people first, individuals first. And for that, what's the basic methodology of this changing of people, individuals, by which Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed people. And that is Surah Al-Jum'ah. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. The fourth lesson used to be in this section, Surah Al-Munafiqoon. I have shifted it to the fifth section. In the fifth section, we studied ayat 153 to 157 of Surah Al-Baqarah on sabr. Very profound ayat. وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يُقْتَلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٍ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يُقْتَلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٍ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Then in the second lesson, we had the first section of Surah Al-Ankabut. And throughout the Makki Quran, I have told you time and again, that 2/3 of the Quran is Makki. And in the Makki Quran, this is the most central place of the Quran about this sabr, which tells us that it has been the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whosoever claims to believe, he tests him by trials and tribulations, by persecutions at the hands of the non-believers, opposition, all the inflictions coming to them, whether they really believe, whether they really love me, whether they have really chosen the life of hereafter, or it's only lip service and nothing else. For that there must be, tests, tribulations. And those trials and tests and tribulations came to the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet at Mecca, in the worst form, the most bitter form. So that is what Allah says, Alif Lam Mim, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Did the people think that they will have salvation only by saying that we come to believe? وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ, and they will not be tested. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. We have been testing all who were before them. فَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. It has been the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the permanent sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has to make manifest who is truthful and who is only telling a lie, that is professing to have iman. And then we have in the ayah number 11 of this same section of Surah Al-Ankabut, وَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ. And Allah will make it clear who are true believers and who are munafiqeen. This is the only place in the whole of the Makki Qur'an where this word munafiqeen has appeared. Otherwise, the subject of nifaq is the subject mainly of the Madani surahs. But we find it in Ankabut, that due to these tests and tribulations, that we say in Urdu, दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी जुदा हो जाएगा. It will be differentiated. Who is real mu'min? Who is ready to sacrifice everything, even his life, for the pleasure of Allah and for the salvation of the hereafter? And who is not going to do it? Who really means business, and who is only paying lip service. Now from that we are switching to this Surah Al-Munafiqoon. So that is actually the logical sequence where we are coming now in this selected course of study to Surah Al-Munafiqoon. The second point, what is the sequence of this surah in the Mus'haf, in Qur'an? This Qur'an is called Mus'haf. This has been compiled, by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself under Allah's guidance. And then in the book form during the caliphate of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So in this Mus'haf, where does it occur? Where is it placed? So this is very important. Because before Surah Al-Munafiqoon, we have Surah Al-Saf, Surah Al-Jum'ah. After Surah Al-Munafiqoon, we have Surah Al-Taghabun. All the three surahs we have already studied. Just now recall, as I told you, the Surah Al-Saf was the subject. It gives us as to what is the purpose of the advent of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why he has been sent. Merely as a teacher? Merely as a preacher? Merely as the giver of glad tidings? Merely as warner? Yes, all these positions are there. But not only these. He has been sent for a revolutionary cause, that is to make the deen of Allah supreme. The system of Allah prevail over all these systems. Deen of Allah to dominate over all the adyan. This he has to do. That is the special purpose of the advent of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is unique, and it should be unique. Although there have been hundreds of messengers and prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the final prophet is one, and that is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on whom this institution of prophethood not only came to an end, but also reached its zenith, its climax. He is full Rasul of Allah. The institution of Risalah and Nabuwah, they have come to its zenith and climax in the person of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then came to an end. So he has a special purpose of advent, and that is هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. For that, the Muslims who profess to be believing in Allah and Muhammad, they have to make struggle. They have to spend whatever Allah has given them. Not only the wealth and the money and the monetary resources, but the bodily resources. The strength in your body, the intelligence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon you. All these faculties should be spent for what? To make the deen of Allah supreme. This is the purpose of jihad fi sabilillah. So there is a very passionate call for jihad. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min adhabin alim. Oh, you who profess to believe, shall I tell you, lead you to the bargain, to the trade, which can save you from the torment, which is very painful torment of the hereafter. تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. You have to have real belief in Allah and His Messenger. And number two, you have to make jihad, to make the deen of Allah supreme, and you have to spend whatever belongs to you in this cause, for this cause. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. This is better for you if you have the true knowledge. So this is jihad, and this can go even to qital. A time might come when you are required to go to the battlefield to fight against those who are enemies of Allah, enemies of Prophet, enemies of Islam, who are obstructing the way of the implementation of Islam. You might be called to go to war against them, risking your lives. So this is jihad. Now whosoever shirks this jihad and he steps back, this stepping back, he says, I believe in Allah, I believe in Muhammad, I believe in this book, I believe in resurrection and hereafter, but I want to play safe. I don't want to spend. Money is very dear to me. Wealth is very close to my heart. I want to keep it. It's a source of my internal delight. And then life is very precious. I can't go. Now this is stepping back, going back, remaining a Muslim, legally a Muslim, but going back. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu man yartadda minkum an dinihi. This is irtidad. This is apostrophe. But this is not legal, this is not open, this is not declared. It is within, only within the hearts. Going back from Iman, but only within the hearts. This is nifaq. So that is why after Surah Al-Saf and Surah Al-Jum'ah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed Surah Al-Munafiqoon here. See it clearly. If you are not ready to fulfill the conditions that have been laid down in Surah Al-Saf, then your names will be written among the Munafiqeen. And you must understand what are the consequences, what's the prognosis, what you stand to lose. And that is the subject of Surah Al-Munafiqoon. And let me say it again, I've been using this word time and again. This is the most profound surah of the Qur'an on the subject of nifaq. Although the subject of nifaq and munafaqah, hypocrisy, it has been discussed at length in Surah Al-Imran, in Surah Al-Nisa, in Surah Al-Tawbah, in Surah Al-Ahzab. Almost all these surahs, Madani surahs, in them, you will find this subject of nifaq and munafiqun. But a very small surah of 11 ayat, 2 sections, and most profound, all embracing it. What is the reason? What's the etiology? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has termed nifaq to begin with as a disease. في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا. In Surah Al-Baqarah, you don't find the word nifaq, only marad. في قلوبهم مرض. In their hearts there is a disease. فزادهم الله مرضا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it is His law, it is a sunnah, that whosoever adopts whatever path, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes that path easy for him. Let him go this way. Because I have given him the choice, imma shakiran wa imma kufura. It is up to him to decide which way he wants to go. If he wants to be a true mu'min, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help him. If he has chosen kufr, plain kufr, open kufr, then it is okay. Go ahead. Abu Jahl was there and Abu Lahab was there. If you have chosen to be in between, to hang in between, okay, go ahead. It's your choice. فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. So Allah increased them in their disease. This disease, because we have, in our medical subjects, etiology. What's the cause of this disease? About every disease, these are the subjects we discuss. What is the symptomatology? What are the symptoms? How do you diagnose? What are the signs and symptoms of this disease? Then what is the prognosis? Whether man can survive after this disease or not. After what level of this disease, then the disease becomes incurable. Then you know what's the treatment. And treatment again, what's the preventive treatment? What can save anybody from getting this disease? Preventive. Prevention is better than cure. Then if somebody has contracted this disease anyhow, then what's the curative treatment? All these 5 subjects are discussed in the 11 ayat of Surah Al-Munafiqoon. And please note one thing more, because everything has 2 aspects, Iman and Nifaq. Nifaq is the negative, Iman is positive. After Nifaq we find in the Musaf Surah Al-Taghabun, and that is the most comprehensive surah of the Qur'an about Iman. Although the subject of Iman is being discussed at length in the Makki surahs. Basically the subject of Iman belongs to the Makki surahs. But here in 18 ayat, most profound, we have already studied it. So that is actually, with this sequence, what we have understood. Jihad fi sabilillah. And if you have chosen the flight or escape or digression or evasion of jihad, the result will be nifaq. Now, a few more points which are very important. Actually, I made a very lengthy speech, 2 hours long, on nifaq, subject of nifaq, about 2 years back in Chicago. And that is included in that series of Khilafah and Iman and Nifaq and Jihad. 10 video cassettes are available. But because we have to study the Surah Al-Munafiqoon, some of the points to do justice to the study of this Surah Al-Mubarakah, I have to mention and repeat some of the points. But that will be brief. Because you can refer to that video or audio tape of 2 hours long, length on this subject. But please enumerate a few points. Number 1, Iman or faith or real belief has 2 opposites or antonyms. Iman versus kufr. This is apparent, outward. This is mu'min or Muslim and this is kafir, evident. He declares himself to be a kafir, a non-Muslim. And Iman within, the opposite is nifaq. So the opposite of Iman outside, apparently, that is kufr. And the opposite of Iman within the heart is nifaq. So nifaq is also a kufr. But this is not legal kufr. This is real kufr, hidden kufr, concealed kufr. It is kufr. But legally, a munafiq is not a kafir. Legally, munafiq is a Muslim. There can be 3 conditions of a person inwardly who is outwardly a Muslim. I am a Muslim, you are a Muslim. And more than 1 billion people here on this globe are Muslims. They are legal Muslims. They profess to be Muslims. But there can be 3 conditions within, different conditions. Either there is real Iman also present in the heart, real belief, personal conviction. This I term as the positive value of Iman. Or there is nifaq, hidden nifaq in the heart. This is the negative value. And between positive, 1, +1 and ±1, there is a place which we call 0 level. There can be a 0 level also. Neither Iman nor nifaq. I am a Muslim. But I don't have Iman. But I am not also munafiq. This is also a possible position. And we have read in Surah Al-Hujurat the ayah, قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم. These Bedouins are claiming to be mu'min. Tell them, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you have not at all become mu'min. All you may say is that you are Muslims. and the real iman has not as yet entered your hearts. وَإِن تُطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَا يَلِتْكُم مِّنْ أَعْمَالِكُمْ شَيْئًا. But if you go on obeying Allah and His Messenger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not deprive you of the rewards of your deeds and actions. Now what does it mean? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is accepting their deeds, they are not munafiqs. From a munafiq, no good deed can be accepted. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you are not mu'min, they are not mu'min. They are neither mu'min nor munafiqs. So that is a zero level in between. And what I feel, 99.9 recurrent Muslims of this world, to a world of today, belong to this third category. They are not munafiqeen, but they are not mu'mineen either. What they are? The same position. قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم. But in one way, one aspect, we are worse. Why? Because we are not obeying Allah and His Messenger in totality. We are obeying only partially. And there actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means total obedience. Udkhulu fi silmi kaffa, enter Islam in totality. Partial obedience is no obedience at all. Now, the second point. What are the literal meanings of this word nifaq or munafiqah? Please note, in Arabic the root is nafaqun. Nafaqun is tunnel, a tunnel, underground tunnel. And every tunnel has two openings. In the same way, nafaqa, this is the word the Arabs used for the hole and the burrow, which the desert lizards, they, made for themselves to hide. And they also kept two openings. So if they found that there is danger from this side, some dog is entering, because the Arabs used to what do you call? To pray, yes. To pray with dogs. So if the dog is coming from this side, it would escape from the other side. If there is danger from that side, it will go and leave that hole from the other side. So from these two things, now what is munafaqah or nifaq? If you infer from the basic roots, just as the tunnel has two faces, two mouths, a person who is double-faced, a person who has two faces, he is something else when he is among the Muslims, he is something else when he is among the kuffar. A double personality, a two-faced person. Number two, why these two openings? For safety, for keeping safe yourself, saving your lives. And that is actually the basis of nifaq. They wanted to save themselves. I can't help quoting a couplet of Allama Iqbal. Tu bacha bacha ke na rakh ise tera aina hai wo aina ke shikasta ho to aziz tar hai nigahe aina saas mein. A true mu'min is always, eager to spend everything for Allah, even his life. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ, they are just waiting. When their time comes, they have already sold their lives to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ. Now they are very eager that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should take the possession of what I have already sold to him. Now it is a custody with me. It's a trust with me. Why to have this burden of custodianship and trusteeship? The sooner Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the possession of what he has purchased from me, the better it is. So that is the eagerness of a true mu'min. Nishane marde mu'min baat goyam jo mar gaya tabassum mar labe ust. Should I tell you the sign of a real mu'min? When the time of death approaches, there is a smile on his lips. That is the couplet of Allama Iqbal, another couplet in Persian. But you know, on the other hand, a person wants to keep safe, play safe. He wants to be regarded as a Muslim. I am a Muslim. But he is not ready to sacrifice, not to undergo hardships. He wants to save his wealth and money and belongings and his own life. So this is nifaq. Nifaq in Islam. A person who claims to be a Muslim and mu'min but does not like to spend his belongings and life for the cause of Allah is a munafiq. This is the definition. But please mind, nifaq is not a legal entity. Legally, either a person is a Muslim or a non-Muslim. Nifaq is something hidden. It's not a legal. Every munafiq is, for all practical and legal and constitutional purposes, a Muslim. That is why, you know, the Prophet ﷺ even prayed at the dead body of Abdullah ibn Ubay, the chief of the Munafiqeen, because he was a Muslim. So legally, either a person is a Muslim or a non-Muslim. You can't say for sure that he is a real mu'min also. You can guess, yes, he is a real mu'min. You can guess, that's all. In the same way, you can't say that he is a munafiq. The Prophet ﷺ definitely knew these munafiqeen, but he always kept it a secret with him. He was the Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had informed him. He could see through the hearts of the people. So he knew who are the munafiqeen, but he himself kept the secrets. He never told people. It happened after Ghazwatul Tabuk that about certain persons, there are some traditions that the Prophet said, such and such person should stand up and leave our meeting. Such and such person also should stand up and go out. And that was the only way he declared them to be munafiqeen. But he kept them, for a few, you know, this is an exception. An exception proves the rule. So that is a hidden thing in the hearts of the people. There is a saying of Hazrat Huzaifa ibn Yaman, who was called Sahibu Sirrin Nabi, because the Prophet told the names of some of the munafiqeen to Hazrat Huzaifa radiyallahu ta'ala an. When the Muslims and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were returning from Tabuk, he was attacked by some people in a very narrow, you know, passage, mountainous passage. And the Prophet told him, and it was very dark, it was the time of night, then they had hidden their faces. But the Prophet told Huzaifa, they are such and such and such and such persons. But he told him not to tell to anybody the names of these people. So he was then known, Sahibu Sirrin Nabi. He is the one who has a secret from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is keeping a secret that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given him. So there is a saying from Hazrat Huzaifa, قال إنما النفاق كان على عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فأما اليوم فإنما هو كفر وبالإيمان. The nifaq was only in the days of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now it is either iman or kufr. It is correct in one way, that you can't declare anybody to be munafiq. The Prophet could do it. He was the Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the knowledge of ghaib. He could do it. But nobody else has the right or authority to declare any Muslim a munafiq. But that doesn't mean that nifaq has ended. Nifaq is continuing. Now what are the stages of nifaq? Rather, first of all, types of nifaq. How do we classify different forms of nifaq? The usual habit of ulama, our traditional ulama, is that they divide nifaq into two categories. Nifaq fil aqidah, and nifaq fil amal. When there is nifaq in the dogma or aqidah, then it is nifaq of heart or nifaq of aqidah, dogma, of belief. And when it is only in action, because there are two ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One is from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and it is muttafaqun alayh, agreed upon by Bukhari and Muslim both, rahimahumullah. Ayatul Munafiq salasun. Idha haddasa kadhiba, wa idha ba'da akhlafa, wa idha tumina khana. And in the tradition taken by Imam Muslim, there are additional words. Wa in sama wa salla wa zama annahu muslimun. There are three signs of a munafiq. Whenever he says something, he tells a lie. Whenever he makes a promise, he breaks it. Whenever he is entrusted with some custody, some trust, he betrays. If these three symptoms are present in a person, he is a munafiq, although he might be praying and fasting of Ramadan, and he might himself be thinking that he is a Muslim. وَإِن صَامَ وَصَلَّى وَزَعَمَ أَنَّهُ مُسْلِمٌ. But all these three qualities, if they are gathered together in a person, he is a munafiq. So the ulama say that he is a munafiq from practical point of view, from his deeds and actions, not munafiq of aqidah, because he thinks himself to be a Muslim. This point is valid. But to me, the better way of classification of nifaq would be more logical. There are two types of nifaq. Number one, conscious nifaq. A man knows that I am a munafiq. I am doing it only to deceive people. I'll give you examples. And the second is unconscious. He doesn't know that he is munafiq. The disease is there. It has progressed from the first to the second and from second to the third stage. It has reached the point of no return, but still he doesn't think that I am munafiq. So conscious nifaq, willful nifaq, conscious nifaq, and unconscious nifaq, about which a person doesn't know himself that he is a munafiq. What's the example of the first? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in Surah Al-Imran, this is ayah number 73. وَقَالَتْ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ آمِنُوا بِالَّذِي أُنزِلَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَجْهَ النَّهَارِ وَاكْفُرُوا آخِرَهُ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. The Jews at Medina, they made a conspiracy. When they saw that every person, when he embraces Islam, although he might be cut into pieces, he doesn't go back. So this goodwill of Iman, they wanted to break this goodwill. How to do it? They decided, in the morning we declare that we have become Muslims. Remain all the day with the Prophet, in his company. In the evening, you declare, no, nothing. We have seen nothing here. It's all, all that glitters is not gold. We have observed from very near. Is nothing. And they become murtad. They declare kufr. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. In this way, we will be able to produce doubts in the minds of some Muslims also. They were very nice people, very knowledgeable people, very, so to say, honorable people. And they embraced Islam. Who can say that they had made it a conspiracy? And all the day they remained in the company of the Prophet. They must have seen something wrong. The Satan now has a chance to produce waswasa in the minds of some of the simple type of Muslims, so that some of them might come out with us. And this way we can break this goodwill of Islam or Iman. So now you analyze. If a person declares to be Muslim in the morning and returns again, becomes kafir in the evening, these 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, he was a legal Muslim. He must have prayed the Zohar and Asr and Maghrib with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Had he died during this time, Muslims would have buried him like a Muslim. But he knows it for himself, I am not a Muslim. I am only deceiving them. So this is the conscious nifaq. Outwardly a Muslim, really a kafir. And this is the condition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has depicted in a very beautiful way in the ayah number 61 of Surah Al-Ma'idah. وَإِذَا جَاءُوكُمْ قَالُوا آمَنَّا. When these people come to you, they say, we believe, we have come to believe. وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا بِالْكُفْرِ وَهُمْ قَدْ خَرَجُوا بِهِ. And they had actually entered with kufr and have gone out with kufr. Not for a single moment they had that iman, the light of iman or the taste of iman, not for a single moment. How beautiful words. وَهُمْ وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا بِالْكُفْرِ. When they entered with kufr. وَقَدْ هُمْ قَدْ خَرَجُوا بِهِ. And they have gone away, gone out with kufr. وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْتُمُونَ. And Allah very well knows what they were hiding. They were hiding in their hearts. And they were consciously hiding it. So this is the example of conscious nifaq. There were reports in Pakistan that some Hindus, they entered Pakistan for spying, intelligence. They embraced Islam, they kept beards, they had the khatna done, they remembered Qur'an, parts of it, and they served for so many years, some of them as imams in the mosques of the villages. And there they were doing the spying. They knew it, we are not Muslims. We are only deceiving them. This is conscious nifaq, willful nifaq. But this was very seldom. The nifaq which is discussed in Qur'an at length, in nearly all the Madani surahs of the Qur'an, is not of that category. It is of the other category. And what is that category? Unconscious iman, unconscious nifaq. Now, what is that unconscious nifaq? What is the predisposing cause of this disease? Quran calls it disease. There are predisposing causes. The predisposing causes of this disease is weakness of iman. Just as we know, when a person is weak, his resistance is lowered, all types of bacteria would come and attack him because his resistance has gone down. Iman is the resistance, the strength, if that is weak. A person has embraced Islam, it has appealed to him. But it has appealed to his heart and his mind both. He embraces Islam sincerely, consciously, not by way of deception. But then, when the time comes, now spend for the cause of Allah. Now it's a difficult time for them. Now is the time to go out, to fight for the cause of Allah. Risk your lives. Oh, it's difficult. So they falter, they tremble. And you know, this is only a weakness of iman. This is not nifaq, provided they confess their mistakes, misdeeds, shortcomings. They don't cover them with any lies. They don't cover them with any lame excuses, wrong and false excuses, telling lies. They accept it's our shortcoming. And then what will be the result? They will go to the Prophet, apologize to him, and also ask, O Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, istaghfir lana. Not only you forgive us, also you pray to Allah that He may forgive us. If this is the state of affairs, he is not a munafiq, he is only a weak mu'min. He is mu'min, but weak. But now, beyond this line, nifaq starts. And just like the 3 stages of TB, tuberculosis, it's very rare here in this part of the world, but in our part of the world, you know, it's still rampant. First stage, second stage, and third stage. When you reach third stage, it used to become incurable. Now there is cure, and there is, you know, at any stage, the disease can be taken care of. But you know, I am taking the simile only. First stage, second stage, third stage. And third stage used to be point of no return, no hope. The first stage of this disease of nifaq is that now you start covering your faults with lame excuses, telling a lie. Oh Prophet, I wanted to go with you, but you know my wife is very sick, very ill. There's nobody to look after her. So please, you grant me the leave. Okay? It was the habit of the Prophet. Okay, whosoever asks for leave, okay. So telling lie, making lame excuses, false excuses, making false statements, kazib. And you will find this word very noticeable. Whenever there is any mention of munafiqeen, kazib and kizb and kazib, all these words you will find. The second stage comes when a person starts taking false oaths. By God, I am true, I am not wrong. If I couldn't go, it was no fault of mine. It was this and this. It was this cause and that cause. By God, I swear by Allah. That is why you know the half, oath, swearing by Allah. In Qur'an, this word has been used 13 times in different forms. And for 11 times it has been used about munafiqeen. That was the habit. Only at 2 other places there is, you know, this word has appeared in the Qur'an in other contexts. 11 times out of 13 this word has been used, and we'll find in Surah Al-Munafiqoon. اتَّخَذُوا أَيْمَانَهُمْ جُنَّةً. They have taken their oaths as shields to protect them. Why didn't you go? By God, I was sick. This is the shield. Now the third stage comes when a person feels that now people don't believe me. They don't believe me even on my oaths and swearings. And when I make such statements, they just keep on smiling because they don't trust me. Now there starts an enmity of the Muslims, and especially of the leader. Leader was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Enmity. Humul aduwwu fahzarhum. They are the enemies, real enemies. The hidden enemy is more dangerous than the open enemy. The open enemy is attacking you from the front. The hidden enemy, that will strike you from the back. They will stab you in the back. Humul adu, adawa, wal bughz. قد بدت البغضاء من أفواههم وما تخفي صدورهم أكبر. So this stage, when it reaches, you know, this disease reaches this level, it becomes incurable. This is the point of no return. What's the prognosis? During the first and the second stage, there remains a chance of correcting yourself. You choose again consciously the path of Iman and Jihad. You should be repenting on what has happened before. Why shaitan could mislead me? Why my nafs, my own baser self, could control me, could prevent me from going out for the cause of Allah. This repentance, this lamentation, this tawbah, and you know, you can correct yourself. That is why you'll find in Surah Al-Baqarah, not even the word of nifaq has been used. That was the first Madani surah. Then we find this word only once in Surah Al-Imran. The Surah Al-Nisa, which was revealed in the 5th or the 6th year, now munafiqeen, this word comes openly. When people had reached that level, now they were openly, this word was used. And the prognosis is that if you have reached this third level, number one, Qur'an says, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. The hypocrites will be in the lowest part of Jahannam. They are worse than kuffar in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A kafir is saying whatever he is. He's openly disbelieving. Okay. But he says, I believe. And then this is the attitude. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu lima taquluna ma la taf'alun kabura maqtan indallahi an taqulu ma la taf'alun. Oh, you who profess to believe, why do you say what do you act not? And this will not give you any credit in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the biggest discredit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's anger reaches high when he sees a person claiming to be something else and he is really something else. His actions are something else. So, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Then you know, Qur'an says, Allah says in the Qur'an, استغفر لهم أو لا تستغفر لهم إن تستغفر لهم 70 مرة لن يغفر الله لهم. O Muhammad, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's equal for them whether you ask my forgiveness for these people or not. Even if you ask my forgiveness for them 70 times, I'm not going to forgive them. Can there be any worse end than this one? Deprived of the shafa'ah, of the prayer of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and going to the lowest chambers of Jahannam. This is the prognosis. But whenever a person is in the first or the second stage, the disease can be cured. But when it has reached the third, then tubi'a ala qulubihim, then a seal is put on their hearts. That's the point of no return. Last point I'm just mentioning, we shall discuss it later when we study this surah word by word. Treatment. Preventive treatment, zikrullah. Strengthen your iman with zikr, so that the resistance is there and nifaq will not be able to attack you. And if the nifaq has, this infection has taken place and you have become conscious, then the remedy is infaq. Spend and spend and spend. Because this love of wealth represents the love of this dunya, this worldly life. And the love of this worldly life is the basic cause of nifaq. So you can treat it by spending it. Spend and spend. Anfiqu fi sabilillah. And which the beauty of the wordings. The disease is nifaq. And the remedy, cure is infaq. I'll discuss this word, the literal basis of this word, later on when we are studying word by word. This was all about this, you may say the preamble to our study of Surah Al-Munafiqoon. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات.